Hello, my name is Kat, and I'm from Lorain County Public Health. Today we're going to talk about e-cigarettes. Thinking about what is in an e-cigarette, let's check and see what you already know. True or false? Most e-cigarettes contain nicotine. This is true. Most e-cigarettes contain nicotine, which is the addictive drug in regular cigarettes and other tobacco products. According to the Centers for Disease Control, 99% of e-cigarettes contain nicotine. Now that we've learned about the risks of nicotine, let's talk about why that matters for your health. Let's start with the brain. True or false? Nicotine harms brain development. The answer is true. Remember, most e-cigarettes contain nicotine, which is highly addictive and can harm brain development. Let's do another knowledge check. True or false? E-cigarettes create a harmless water vapor. The answer is false. E-cigarettes allow the user to exhale clouds that many think are just harmless water vapor. The tobacco industry prefers the term vapor because this implies it is harmless, but it is not harmless. E-cigarettes create an aerosol, which is a mixture of particles in the air that can be harmful to your health. How about this one? True or false? The tobacco industry is in the e-cigarette game. The answer is true. Big tobacco companies are moving to e-cigarettes to addict a new generation of users, including youth. Now that we've tested your knowledge, let's talk a little bit more about e-cigarettes. E-cigarettes are known by many different names and also come in different sizes and shapes. But no matter what you call it, it is an e-cigarette. The most recognized e-cigarette is Juul, but there are many different devices and brands. For example, just like Juul, a puff bar is small enough to fit in a pocket, often resembles a USB flash drive, and heats up a cartridge containing e-liquid to create a vapor. Puff bars only have one-time use. Each pod device is pre-charged and pre-filled. Once the vapor runs out, it cannot be recharged or refilled. E-cigarettes raise environmental concern. Pods oftentimes do not make it into the trash and compound the issue of tobacco product litter. The heavy metals like lead and nickel in e-cigarettes, as well as nicotine, can leak, which may qualify e-cigarettes as both e-waste and biohazard waste. Nicotine is a drug found in tobacco plants. It's an insecticide created by the plant to kill bugs. Would you want to take a puff of insecticide? Nicotine is also the drug found in tobacco products that makes them addictive. That means once you use it, your body will continue to want more. When you use an e-cigarette, nicotine is quickly absorbed into your body and goes directly to your brain. Nicotine activates the areas of the brain that make you feel satisfied and happy. Putting nicotine in your body is very addictive, and it can also make your brain more susceptible to addiction of any tobacco products, and also other drugs like cocaine. So you know what nicotine is, but did you know there's different types of nicotine? Some of you may have taken chemistry already, or might be taking it soon, so you know about the pH scale, which measures the chemicals that are in a liquid. So why are we showing you this? Well, the pH matters when it comes to how harsh nicotine is on your body, particularly your throat when you're inhaling it. Most nicotine in e-cigarettes is what we call free-base nicotine, which means it's very blue on the pH scale. The more blue on the scale, the more volatile or crazy it's going to be, which that means how harsh it will be on your throat. But get this, the manufacturers of Juul found a way around the harshness factor. They added a chemical to the nicotine, which causes it to become more acidic on the pH scale. By making it more acidic, it becomes what we call nicotine salts, rather than free-base nicotine. Nicotine salts are less harsh on your throat. This allows the nicotine to be used more easily, which increases the likelihood of anyone trying an e-cigarette getting hooked. It doesn't matter whether the nicotine is from traditional tobacco or these new salts. They have the same risk factors associated with use. All Juul e-cigarettes have a high level of nicotine, among the highest of e-cigarettes on the market. Juul's nicotine liquid refills are called pods. A single Juul pod contains at least as much nicotine as a pack of 20 regular cigarettes. Some other brands have even more nicotine. Right now, important growth is happening in each of your brains and will continue to happen until you are about 25 years old. The brain is the last organ in the human body to develop fully. Exposing your brain to nicotine while it's in this important phase can cause addiction and harm your brain. Your brain has an advantage over older people for learning faster, but that also means you have a chance of becoming addicted faster. How is this so? Each time a new memory is created or a new skill is learned, stronger connections are built between brain cells. Nicotine changes the way these connections are formed, which can harm the parts of the brain that control attention and learning. So let's talk about addiction. Because addiction is a form of learning, young people can get addicted more easily than adults. The nicotine in an e-cigarette and other tobacco products can also prime your brain for addiction to other drugs, such as cocaine. And as the ad here says, it's not like you can just go out and buy a new brain, so make sure you're protecting the one you have. Another risk in using e-cigarettes is that many people who use them are more likely to go on to smoke cigarettes, even if they think they never will. Use of 2 or more tobacco products is common among middle and high school students. Many young people who use e-cigarettes also go on to smoke cigarettes. So the best way to protect your health is to not use any nicotine products at all. No matter how it's delivered, whether it's an e-cigarette or a cigarette, nicotine is harmful for your brain. Do you know what you're inhaling in your body when you use an e-cigarette? Besides nicotine, e-cigarette aerosol can contain cancer-causing chemicals, heavy metals, and ultrafine particles that can be inhaled deeply into the lungs and harm your body. And even though e-cigarette aerosol generally contains fewer harmful chemicals than regular cigarettes, safer doesn't mean safe. Oh, and by the way, those flavorings in e-cigarettes aren't necessarily safe either. Just because something is approved to eat doesn't mean it can't harm your lungs if you inhale it. A chemical called diacetyl has been found in many e-cigarette flavors. Diacetyl's been linked to serious and irreversible lung disease that can cause hospitalization and death. When inhaled, diacetyl can cause scarring of the tiny air sacs in the lungs, resulting in the thickening and narrowing of those airways. Popcorn lung is the nickname for the serious and irreversible damage that can be caused to your lungs when inhaling diacetyl. The damage is in the smallest airways of your lungs, and that may result in coughing and shortness of breath. In this image, you can see normal lungs compared to popcorn lungs. Poisoning is also a risk. There have been an increase in poisonings by swallowing, breathing, or absorbing e-cigarette liquid through skin and eyes. Just look at the increase in calls to poison control centers across the country, nearly 4,000 calls per year from e-cigarettes, and it's increased over time. Consider if a younger sibling or neighbor got a hold of an e-cigarette. They could be poisoned much more quickly, as their bodies are a lot smaller. And if the potential for poisoning wasn't enough, defective e-cigarette batteries have often caused fires and explosion, some that have resulted in serious injury. Most explosions happen when the e-cigarette's battery were being charged. Here are some real-life examples. Don't assume an e-cigarette device is safe. Don't be fooled. E-cigarette companies are targeting you and making a lot of money off of it. Here are just a few examples of how they're doing it. E-cigarette marketing ads are using themes and things like celebrity figures to appeal to youth and young adults. Some of the brands behind these new products are actually the same companies that produced traditional cigarettes. For example, the company that sells Kool sells Blue. Marlboro sells Mark 10. Camel sells Views. If you haven't started using tobacco, don't start. Most teens do not use e-cigarettes or other tobacco products. But if you do use e-cigarettes or other tobacco products, the sooner you quit, the better. There are some helpful resources out there to help you quit. There is a This Is Quitting app from the Truth Initiative, Quick Start app, or Smoke-Free Text for Teens from smokefreeteens.gov. Most importantly, get help. Don't do it alone. There are some things you can do that'll make a big impact on your quit journey. Asking for help isn't weak. It's a smart move. If you feel comfortable, talk to friends or adults you trust about wanting to quit. Also, it's normal for people to slip up when they're trying to quit. If you slip up, don't think of it as a failure. It just means you might want to try quitting in a different way. Make a plan, stick to it, and keep trying to quit until you get it down. It's your life, and we're here to help you live it your way. Text Start My Quit to 855-891-9989 or call to talk with a coach who is ready to listen and cheer you on. This is 100% free, confidential, and made just for teens. They will not report you to your parents or your school. You can also get involved. Talk with your peers and community leaders about ways you can help educate your community about the dangers of e-cigarettes. If you have friends that use e-cigarettes, talk to them about quitting. You can also become an ambassador with the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids to make the next generation tobacco-free. You are smart enough to make your own decision. Don't let the tobacco companies tell you what to think.